everyone, I'm Transuri and
My time has come to burn! I invoke the ancient power that I may return!
諦めた方がいいね。
It worked! The Axolotls chant worked! That idiot Stanley may have done me in, but it all amounted to nothing! Wait! My power! Why isn't it coming with me? Why isn't my power coming with me?
You're a real wise guy, but you made one fatal mistake. You messed with my family.
Deku woke up. It was just a nightmare. An incredibly strange nightmare. His door opened. Izuku, are you alright? I'm fine. It was just a nightmare. The next morning, Deku was walking home from school. He wanted to get home as soon as possible. He wanted to avoid Deku. He flinched, turning to see Bakugo Katsuki, the very person he tried to avoid. Hey, Kat-chan. Bakugo approached Deku. So I heard a rumor that you applied to UA. You do realize it's impossible, right? They'll never accept a quirkless loser like you. Actually, they got rid of that rule. If I can score well enough, I could get in. That's ridiculous. You think they'd take you when they could have me? Well, it's not. You're a useless Deku. How could anyone ever want you? Let alone the top hero school in the country. Please stop, Kat-chan. You're a quirkless loser. Stop it, Kat-chan. You'd probably die trying to keep up. Stop it. You know how you could be a hero? Take a swan dive off the roof and hope for a quirk in your— Stop it! A sudden force blasted Bakugo back, as well as the walls and ground around Deku. A force continued to push everything around Deku away. It quickly calmed down. Bakugo looked at the supposed quirkless loser in front of him. The useless nobody who was supposed to be left in the dust as a forgotten part of his past. The green-haired Deku who just blasted him back. Deku looked up. His eyes were different. Normally they were green, but now his eyes had a yellow sclera with no iris and elongated pupils. That was the last day Bakugo looked down on Deku. I don't understand it at all. I have no idea what's going on. Deku and his mother looked surprised. His x-rays show that he has the extra joint, but there's no other way of explaining what happened earlier today. Then what did happen? Does he somehow have a quirk even though he shouldn't? Deku was muttering, but it was too quiet for it to be intelligible. Izuku, are you alright? Deku was snapped out of his muttering. Yeah, what is it? I don't think it's a quirk. The quirk doctor raised a brow in confusion. What do you mean, kid? After that burst of energy calmed down, all this information just popped into my head. Izuku created a small blue flame in his hand. Quirks can really only do one thing in most cases, but this— telekinesis, pyrokinesis, dream manipulation, mind reading? There's so much to it. Way too much to be a quirk. Well, if it's not a quirk, then what is it? I don't know, it's just an anomaly. Well, kid, either way, it's best to just call it a quirk. If the public gets wind of this, who knows what'll happen. What should we call it then? Deku looked at his hand and the blue flame emanating from it. Providence. Deku closed his hand, extinguishing the flame. A few days later, Deku was face to face with a villain made of sludge.
Give me your body, kid!
Deku was somewhat panicking. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
The hell are you talking about?
Deku put his hand forward. The sludge villain charged towards Deku, only to be pushed back, splatting on the wall. I'm not really used to having these powers. Moments later, Deku met and got an autograph from All Might. A few days after that, Deku was sitting in his room. Guess I haven't really tried that one yet. He closed his eyes. When he opened them, he was in an empty void with nothing but two people fighting. Well, it was more one person attacking with a large black sword and the other simply dodging. They were nearly identical, except for the one dodging having his right eye being black and red. The attacker would occasionally land a hit, but whenever he did, the damage he dealt would be reflected back onto him. Still, the attacker wouldn't let up. Hey, are you alright?
Get away!
The attacker yelled. That thing's dangerous! Deku closed his eyes, and when he opened them back up, he was back in his room. Whoever that was must have a lot of emotional turmoil to have a dream like that. Hey, Bakugo, why don't you mess with Deku anymore? Bakugo looked back at Deku.
No reason. I just figured it was a waste of time.
Really? Man, that's such a lame reason. It was so much fun. Deku sat on his bed. I can only practice with my powers so much at home. Even if I know every in and out of my power, that doesn't mean I can use them perfectly. I need somewhere I can train. Deku closed his eyes. That should work. Deku disappeared from his room, appearing at a dirty beach. No one should find me here. Deku pointed his finger at a pile of trash. A blue light flashed, and the pile of trash, along with the trash even several meters behind it, was disintegrated. Whoa, okay, don't use that casually. Deku thought for a moment. Then piles of scrap trash levitated, their shape being contorted and forced together into human-shaped targets. He launched a multicolored bubble at one of the targets. It moved slowly and encompassed not just the target he was aiming for, but the adjacent targets. Way too slow, and it could be difficult to use in a hostage situation without hitting civilians. Deku thought for a moment. Maybe I can compress it. I mean, when water's compressed, it comes out faster. Deku held his hand out. This time, the bubble was much smaller and faster. It missed the target. Okay, that's much better. Deku fired off multiple shots, aiming for the head of the makeshift targets, only occasionally hitting. After a while, he switched to fireballs, then lasers. He continued training his powers for months until the day of the entrance exam arrived. Deku stood in front of the UA building with a smile on his face. I can't believe I'm actually standing on the grounds of UA. Deku walked forward. He stepped to the side to avoid Bakugo accidentally shoulder-checking him. He then registered and took the written test. He got 100%, of course. Anything less for someone with clairvoyance would be either nonsensical or on purpose. After a brief explanation on how the practical exam would play out, Deku and his fellow examinees arrived at the gates. Deku looked around. All right, start! A voice said over the intercom. Everyone looked up at the speaker. What's wrong? There's no countdowns in real fights! Deku quickly teleported into the battlefield in the middle of several robots. He let loose a blast of blue flames, destroying all of them. He teleported again and once again released a burst of blue flames. He did it again a final time. At this point, the robots were too spread out for it to be effective, so he started to wander. If a robot went for him, he would destroy them, either disassembling them with telekinesis or melting them with his fire. He would also help other people out of trouble if they needed it. Eventually, the ground began to rumble. Deku closed his eyes. You gotta be kidding me. He opened them. That could seriously hurt someone. I have to get rid of that before someone gets hurt. He teleported to the location of the zero pointer. He noticed a girl trapped under the rubble. It did hurt someone! Deku pointed his finger at the zero-pointer, and in a flash of light, the zero-pointer was disintegrated down to the atom. He used his telekinesis to lift the rubble off the girl. Hey, are you alright? Yeah, but my ankle hurts. Hold on a second. Let me try something. Deku held his hand over the girl's ankle. Almost instantly it was healed, as if it had never been damaged in the first place. How did you do that? I reversed time on your ankle. You can do that? Yeah, I can do lots of things. Deku smiled at the girl. Time's up! Well, I guess the test is over. Bye, Uraraka. Wait, how'd you know my name? Deku flinched as he realized what just happened. It's a secret. Deku started walking off, leaving Uraraka with many questions. Deku started walking back to the entrance when he passed by Ida. He's so powerful, Ida thought. He defeated the zero-pointer with no effort. His quirk. It's incredible. Later, Deku sat in his room. Glad I got enough points, but I should have watched the entrance exam in other universes so I would have seen that zero-pointer coming. He laid back on his bed. But I guess it wasn't that much of a problem. I took care of it pretty quickly. He turned to the side. But it did hurt Uraraka. He covered his face in embarrassment. Why did I slip up like that? She probably thinks I'm some sort of stalker now. He calmed down. The worst part is that I can't fix it for a few months. He relaxed on his back. I guess I just have to wait. Next time, I'm going to map out every possibility to get the best results. No matter how many possibilities I map out, there's no way to account for everything. Besides, I would be being fake. I should just be myself. We get together in most other universes, so there must be something about me that works. Though, I guess there's no way to know for sure until it happens. I'll probably have a good idea of how it's going after the sports festival, but until then I won't know for sure. I just have to wait. After a few months, Deku walked through the halls of UA once again. He knew he got in as soon as he finished the test. He walked through the door, immediately hearing Bakugo and Ida arguing. He walked by and sat down. Let it go, Bakugo. It's not worth it. Don't tell me what to do, Bakugo muttered. You know this cretin? We went to the same middle school. I see. I'm Ida Tenya of the Somei Private Academy. Midoriya Izuku, it's nice to meet you. The two shook hands as Uraraka walked into the room. She saw Deku. It's that guy from the entrance exam, she thought. I should probably thank him, but the way he knew my name was kind of creepy. Deku flinched for a bit. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. If you're here to talk, you might as well leave now. Everyone turned to see a man in a yellow sleeping bag. He unzipped the bag and stood up. It took you 8 seconds to quiet down. Time is limited. You kids need to be more rational. Deku was the only one who, at the very least, appeared not to be surprised. Eraserhead, he thought. I should probably be careful around him. If he used his quirk on me, he would expose that my power isn't really a quirk. I'm your homeroom teacher, Aizawa Shota. Nice to meet you. Everyone except Deku stood stunned. It's kind of sudden, but put these on and go out onto the field. Aizawa pulled some gym uniforms out of his bag. Deku waited for a moment, then got out of his seat and grabbed a uniform from Aizawa, then headed to the changing rooms. On the field, nearly everyone was surprised to learn that Aizawa had planned a quirk assessment test. If you're going to become a hero, you don't have time for such leisurely events. UA's selling point is how unrestricted its school traditions are. That's also how teachers run their classes. You kids have been doing these since junior high, right? Physical fitness tests where you weren't allowed to use your quirks. The country still uses averages taken from results from students not using their quirks. It's not rational.
The Ministry of Education is procrastinating.
He turned to Deku.
Midoriya, you finished at the top of the practical exam, right?
Yeah.
In junior high, what was your best result in the softball throw?
46.3 meters.
Try doing it again with your quirk.
Deku stepped into the circle.
You can do whatever you want, as long as you don't leave the circle. Hurry up and give it all you got.
Aizawa tossed a softball to Deku. Deku took a deep breath. The ball began to levitate above his hand. It began to move in a circle, faster and faster. It began to look like a ring. Suddenly, it disappeared. A beep came from the device in Aizawa's hand. Sorry. I don't know if you're going to be able to get that back.
That's fine. Know your own maximum first. That's the most rational way to form the foundation of a hero.
But where did the ball go? Asked Tsu. Aizawa held up the device, showing the class that it lost connection. I kind of sent it to the asteroid belt. The class all looked at him, not really believing what he said. It's kinda hard to believe, but we get to use our quirks. It looks like a lot of fun.
Fun, huh?
Deku began to unfocus. He already knew this speech, and the sort of empty threat Aizawa was about to give. When the aptitudes test started, it was incredibly easy. For the 50-meter dash, he simply teleported. For grip strength, he broke the machine with his telekinesis. For the standing long jump, he simply teleported as soon as he jumped. For the repeated sidestep, he teleported back and forth. He once again teleported for the long distance run, aided himself with his telekinesis for sit-ups, and made his arms longer for the toe touch. In the end, he came first place in everything, with Mineta in last. He looked horrified at Aizawa.
Mineta Minoru, as of right now, you are officially expelled from UA.
A black-haired girl looked stunned. The whole class was silent for what seemed like half an hour.
And as of right now, you are officially reinstated into UA.
Everyone looked stunned. What? Why?
I always planned to reinstate whoever came in last place. The point of the expulsion was to give you a taste of death. You aren't the protagonist. Plot armor doesn't exist. This is the real world. I wanted to remind you all of that. With that, we're done here. There are handouts with the curriculum and such in the classroom. Look over them when you get back.
Deku was later leaving the grounds of UA. Ida was approaching from behind.
Midoriya!
Deku turned.
Hey, Ida. Would you like to walk to the station together?
Oh yeah, sure. They walked for a moment or two.
So, forgive me for asking, but what exactly is your quirk?
It's called Providence. I don't like going into detail, but it's really versatile. I can actually do a lot more than what you saw.
That doesn't really tell me much.
Like I said, I don't really like going into detail. They walked for a moment. Deku looked around for a second.
Is something wrong?
No, nothing's wrong. The two proceeded to walk to the station and went their separate ways. The next day, Deku was sitting in class. It was time for battle training. In most scenarios, he ends up being paired with Uraraka for it. This could be his chance to fix things. Deku counted down in his head.
3, 2, 1. I am coming through the door like a normal person!
Deku watched All Might as he walked into the room. Right on time.
I teach basic hero training. It is a subject where you train in different ways to learn the basics of being a hero. You'll take the most units of this subject. Let's get right into it. This is what we'll do today.
All Might pulled out a card that said battle on it.
Combat trading.
Bakugo seemed to get excited.
And to go with that are these.
All Might pointed to the wall, which produced several cases.
Costumes made based on your quirk registrations and requests that you sent in before school started. After you change, gather in ground beta.
A few minutes later, everyone was changed. Deku's hero costume in this version of events is a yellow and gold suit with brick-like patterns, a bow tie, and a black eye patch.
They say the clothes make the pros, young men and ladies. Be fully aware that from this moment on, you are heroes. Now, shall we begin, you zygotes?
Deku thought for a moment. In most universes where the class layout isn't altered, I end up being paired with Uraraka, and we go against Ida and Bakugo, but at the same time, the multiverse is essentially chaos. I might end up paired with someone else. I could easily rig it with my clairvoyance and telekinesis. No, I can't. It wouldn't be right. It's supposed to be random for a reason. Deku walked up to the box and pulled out a ball. 18. All good so far. Deku walked away from the box. He watched Uraraka pull out the ball. 18, she thought.
What? 18? Shit, the layout is different.
Mere moments later, Deku was standing next to a pink-skinned girl with horns and tights.
Damn. All I can really do now is make sure I don't make a fool of my...
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. I put a lot of thought into it. This first part is a little slow in the middle to the end, so I really appreciate you sticking to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe to help my channel grow. This is another video where I've been pushing my editing abilities. Anyway, here's the obligatory Patreon plug. Please, I'm in desperate need of money. With the Kitsune tier, you get behind the scenes, some other little extras, and short stories, all of which so far are canon. With the Five-Tailed Fox tier, you get sneak peeks into future videos. And with the Kyubi no Kitsune tier, you get early access to premiered videos like this one. Currently, I don't have any patrons. And, again, I need money. Anyway, 5 likes for part 2. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, matatere!
Lights are red and there's sweat on your